What's going on, everybody? This is Economic News Insight, and today we're going to talk about credit score. Everything you need to know about how a credit score is calculated, all the way to how to improve your credit score. We're going to talk about that in this video. Crush up the likes if you like videos like this. This is a live stream, so I will be fielding questions at the end. So, what is a credit score? A credit score is a three-digit number, typically between 300 and 850. Hopefully, none of you are even below 500. But if you are below 500, hopefully you walk away from this understanding how to get it up and why you should try to get it up. Okay. So this indicates to lenders how risky of a borrower you really are. Basically, the higher the score, the lower the risk you are to lenders. So let's talk about the five most important aspects of the credit score. It's like a pie graph, right? So 35% of this is your payment history. It's whether or not you pay bills on time. Sometimes you can get hit with sneaky bills that you didn't even expect, that you didn't know that you were on the hook for, whether it be for a subscription or something like that. And then those things can kind of end up causing you a decline in payment score history. Those are a pain in the butt. How do you clean that up? Well, using services like Credit Karma can help, using other services, maybe FICO, just knowing every month if there's something on there that's delinquent. I would say pay attention to your payment history at least once every 2 months minimum. The next is 30% of it is accounts owed, your debts compared to available credit. So, do you have four credit cards that you owe a balance on? Do you have a mortgage? Do you have a car payment? What they want to know is how many of those accounts owed you have. That's 30%. So, between payment history, 35%, accounts owed, that's 30%. That's already 65% between those two. But then there's some other things that are important. Length of credit history. So, how long you've had that mortgage, how long you've had that loan, how long you've had that credit card. Typically, people will go out just to get a credit card and make minimal purchases on it just to build that credit history. That's 15%. So now we're already at 80%. That's a lot of the graph right there. Those are the three big things. But there's two other things that are important. Credit mix, variety of accounts. Do you have credit cards? Do you have loans? Do you have a mortgage? You don't want to just be all in building credit with credit cards. You don't just want to say, oh, well, I have a mortgage, so that's all I need. I don't need credit cards. They typically recommend that you have credit cards as well as loans and you upkeep that credit history. Okay. That's 10% of it. That's enough to move. If you're just sitting over there at 700 or something like that, 750, you'll see if you get that dialed in, that credit mix, you'll go up a bit. And then new credit. So recent credit inquiries or new accounts. Sometimes these credit inquiries can actually have a negative impact. For example, if you go car shopping and you're looking at multiple different lenders and then you talk to three of them, those credit inquiries can actually have a negative impact. So be careful going out and getting a lot of credit inquiries, especially at a time when you need to qualify for something like a mortgage. I know that's kind of ridiculous that that's happening, but it's a way for them to kind of feel out how aggressive you're trying to be with what you already have on record. So higher score equals better terms. That means higher scores help you qualify for loans with higher amounts, as well as lower interest rates and higher credit limits. So maybe you have a credit limit of 7,500 on your credit card and you want to open up a business and you need maybe 15,000. You're going to get a higher credit limit if you actually have a good credit score. So these are the reasons why you want to upkeep a high credit score. If you're wondering what is considered a good score, typically on the FICO score, it's around 670. Just so you know, I'm above 800. I just recently passed 800 as a credit score about 6 months to a year ago. That was my first time ever going over 800. And I haven't even used it or taken advantage of it, but I pay attention to that because if I ever do need to use my credit score, I will try to take advantage of that for a bigger loan or more access to capital if I ever need it. So you could see in my case, I don't need it. I don't use it really. But if I ever did need to get a home loan or a second mortgage or something like that, they're going to be more prone to qualify me and give me the terms that I'm looking for with a lower interest rate in particular would be nice. by me upkeeping a high credit score. It's not the only factor that is played into it. We'll talk about that a little bit more, but you know, when they're giving you a loan, they look at a variety of different things. But building your credit, it takes time. If you're young, it's not just going to happen overnight. So you want to start as soon as you can. Make sure you maintain your payment history. Make sure you diversify your credit history. Make sure you do all the necessary steps on that pie graph in particular. But I would say try to eliminate anything that's uh, not needed on there, and try to build a consistent pattern with your payments on time. That's the big thing. Be on time with your payments and don't do anything too crazy. Like, don't overextend yourself because that will bring down your credit score if they think you're overextended. Positive actions, on time payments, paying down debt, that's what really helps over time. Now, if you miss a payment, one missed payment or one late payment can significantly drop your score, and it can stay on your credit report up to 7 years. So you want to make sure you're staying on top of your credit score and stay on top of those payments, because if you don't and you fall behind once or twice, or on some of them even more than that, you can really impact your credit score for almost 7 years. Now, the hard inquiries that we were talking about, that does impact you a little bit. So when you apply for a new credit card, that's a hard pull. Your score could drop slightly, but not too much, because it only makes up 10%, that whole inquiry part of the actual credit score. So you'll see a little bit of an impact. Like if you go down from 815 to 800 and you did some hard inquiries, that could be why. But like I said, make sure you're always checking your credit score pretty regularly. Uh, some people even say one credit card or one credit hard like pull per year. So you could get that. I think you're entitled to that. At least one free credit report per year. That's pulling everything just so you know what's going on. You can get that from like Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. You could use services like Credit Karma. That's the one I use, but there's a few new ones. It's just I've been using Credit Karma for a while. I don't know. Maybe I'll switch if there's something better out there. If you guys know of something better than Credit Karma, let me know. Monitoring helps catch errors or fraud. I mean, just the other day, I got a notification that said that some water company from 2020 said that I owed them, but I haven't been living in that residence since 2020, and it's 2025 now. So those are the kind of things, you can find on there that you might not know about. So those kind of things can happen to anyone, even with someone like me who takes time to care about my credit score, being that I'm over 800. It just can happen because sometimes there's just like sneaky, sometimes people even open credit lines in your name and you didn't even know about that. So just keep in mind, high balances can hurt even if you pay on time. So keeping balances relatively low to your credit limit, especially below 30%. So if you have a $15,000 line of credit, don't maximize that. Maybe use up 3,000 or 30% of that. So you'd be at around like 3 to 5,000. That's ideal. But keep in mind, if you're doing that, you're going to be taking on some, interest rates that might not work. So it's better maybe 10% or below, so you're not paying a lot of interest rates. I actually use charge cards like American Express. I can get more into details about the best credit cards that I use to this day. Now, do take into consideration that as you open one and you close one, that can impact your credit history. So, closing old cards, that can lower your score. Uh, Even though you're closing an account, you think you're reducing your debt, you're actually affecting your credit history. Now, I do this quite a bit. I haven't noticed any real significant problems with it. Like I had an American Airlines card that I was using. I just got rid of it because American Airlines with Chase Bank, they went from Barclays to Citibank, I think, and I was like, well, I'm just going to get rid of the Barclays card because it's going out anyway. And then I closed it, and I haven't quite opened up the new American Airlines because I haven't been using American Airlines a lot lately. So I ended up going with a different Chase card, one that wasn't just associated with travel. So just keep in mind, scores are not everything. Some lenders also consider your income, how much money you make, your employment, and other factors beyond your credit score. But the big thing is your debt to income. That's something you really have to pay attention to. But if you get into the FICO stuff, that's where you want to get it. You want to calculate it right there, FICO score. It's used by like 90% of top lenders in the US. So it's really important to pay attention to that. But building and maintaining a good score requires consistently paying on time, keeping debt low, and managing your accounts wisely over time, maintaining a steady stream of income through, say, employment. But if you guys have any other questions about this, I can turn it over to you guys in the actual comments section here. Thank you to everyone who's smashing up the likes as we continue to get this video out to a large audience. So, another thing that I wanted to point out just before we wrap this up, set up automatic payments to avoid missed bills. This is one thing you can do. Pay multiple times per month to keep balances low. Sometimes people will if they come across some money, they'll pay down their mortgage faster. And then just monitoring your score. Those are the big things that you guys can really pay attention to, and that'll help you with your credit score. Thank you to everyone who watched, and we'll see you on the next one.